Hey, Mr. Schiller.
Hey friends, you should have a snack. Do you have a snack to get now? If you don't have a snack, then hang in there. We're going to begin our quick lesson before the end of the day. So, I'm looking to see who is ready to go on. Looks like Maddie's ready. Looks like Molly's ready. What? I see Becky's ready. Wow, Becky. I'm impressed. I see Ava's ready. Cole's ready. Reed's ready. Kayla's ready. Maddox looks ready. Dakota looks ready. Dakota, you had a good day today, bud. Proud of you. Noah's ready. Esperanza's ready. Natalie's ready. Both of them are. Hayden's ready. All right. I'm going to start giving directions. I know a few of my friends are still in the bathroom and they're doing a little test around school. But I'm going to begin anyways. So, the last little part of the day, I want to read one more chapter with you guys from our book. What's the title of our book again? Does anybody remember? Christopher.
Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane.
Of Edward Tulane. Who do you think our main character is so far in the story? Ava? Edward. And who is Edward? Is he a young boy?
Bunny.
Who is he, Emma?
A bunny.
A bunny. Now, why is a bunny named Edward? Isn't that kind of weird? And not only is his name Edward, but he has a last name too. How many bunnies have you met with a first and last name? So he was a different kind of bunny. Not only was his name make him different, though, there was other things about him that made him a little bit unique or different. What was something unique about Edward, Molly? He's made out of China. We talked about how China is not like a country. It's like plates and silverware and things like that, bowls. So Edward is a unique creature that we have been reading about. And today, we're going to read the next chapter in our story. Now, I have some different options for some friends, depending on what works best with you. I have some copies of the chapters that I'm going to read that I'll be more than willing to pass out, and you may follow along with me as I read at your seat. If you're someone who likes to maybe listen a little bit more than to read, then I'm going to ask you to come and join me on the carpet. So I'm going to read on the carpet, and I'm going to leave it up to you if you would like to either come and listen to me read, or if you'd like to follow along with me and read at your seat, okay? If you are someone who would like to listen to me read, will you please stand up, push your chairs in, come quietly to the floor? If you're someone who wants to follow along with me reading, then just stay at your seat, and I'm going to pass out the papers to you. Thank you, Aiden and Dakota and Becky and Wes for coming down quietly. Esperanza, thank you for following directions. I like how you pushed your chair in and you're coming down without a voice. This is your copy. If you want to write down notes from something that I say or that you go and read that you want to discuss later or that you might want to keep in mind, you may write on this if you'd like. My friends down in the carpet, I'm going to expect you guys to be good listeners. What I'm going to ask you to do afterwards today, after we read this chapter, I'm going to have you do a little paper for me, and you're going to have choices to fill out that time too. So what the point of this, or our main task, or our goal today, is to start paying attention to details and to key points that are happening while we read. So while I read this chapter, I want you to pay attention to the main details, any big things that happen, or any events that stick out to you when I read this story, okay? Are there any questions about what you're going to do during this time? Okay, so if you're someone who wants to listen to me read, you should be on the floor. If you are a friend who wants to follow along with me, then you are at your seat following along. If someone comes in and they need a piece of paper, they will be right here. If someone could help them, so I have to stop. Hi, Leah. You want to come to the floor and come listen to me read?
Or do you want to follow along with one of these? Leah?
I think Leah wants to come listen to me read. Kyle and Blake, you're coming in a little bit late, guys. If you'd like to come and listen to me read, you may come take a seat. If you want to follow along with me read, you can grab the papers over there to follow along with me while I read. Hey. Christopher, come down here then. Or do you already still have a shade? All right, thank you, Leah, for coming and joining me. All right, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I'm going to expect you to make a decision by then. You should either be in your seat or you should be down on the carpet with me. Ask a friend. I already gave instructions. You're just following along with me. Zeddy, come join me, bud. All right, 5 seconds. You should be in your seat, either in your seat or down here with me. Okay, thank you. Remember expectations, friends, when I'm reading, you're just listening. You're staying in your seat, and our voices are on 0. Chapter 12. And I see on here is a picture. What's in this picture? It looks like what?
A dog and
Kyle, what do you see?
And a dog and a rabbit.
A dog,
A dog is like
and a rabbit.
a dog and Edward.
Oh, okay. Let's continue to read. Edward did not have much time to savor the life, for the dogs at the dump. He lay on top of orange peels, coffee grounds, rancid bacon, and rubber tires. The first night, he was at the top of the garbage heap, and so he was able to look up at the stars and find comfort in their life. In the morning, a short man came climbing through the trash and rubble. He stopped when he was standing on top of the highest pile. He put his hands under his armpits and clapped his elbows. The man crowed loudly. He shouted, "Who am I? I'm Ernest, Ernest, who is king of the world. How can I be king of the world? Because I am king of garbages. And garbage is what the world is made of. Ha ha ha! Therefore, I am Ernest, Ernest, who is king of the world," he crowed again. Edward was inclined to agree with Ernest's assessment of the world being made of garbage, especially after his second day at the dump. When a load of trash was deposited directly on top of him, he lay there, buried alive. He could not see the sky. He could not see the stars. He could see nothing. What kept Edward going, what gave him hope, was thinking of how he would find Lolly and exact his revenge. He would pick her up by the ears. He would bury her under a mountain of trash. But after almost 40 days and nights had passed, the weight and the smell of the garbage above and below him clouded Edward's thoughts, and soon he gave up thinking about revenge and gave into a despair. It was worse, much worse than being buried at sea. It was worse because Edward was a different rabbit now. He couldn't say how he was different. He just knew that he was. He remembered again Pellegrina's story about the princess who had loved nobody. The witch turned her into a warthog because she loved nobody. He understood that now. He heard Pellegrina say, "You disappoint me." "Why?" he asked her. "Why do I disappoint you?" But he knew the answer to that question too. It was because he had not loved Aveline enough, and Lawrence were gone too. He missed them terribly. He wanted to be with them. The rabbit wondered if that was love. Day after day passed, and Edward was aware of time passing only because every morning he could hear Ernest performing his dawn ritual. Oh, he was down there. No, that's not
No,
him.
that's where is he? Is he even in here?
Yep.
Son, I need you. Buses come at
2:05, 2:10.
2:05. Wow, we're gonna have to hurry.
Yeah, 2:15 is actually dismissal though.
Okay.
What?
The rabbit wondered if that was love. Day after day passed, and Edward was aware of the time passing only because every morning he could hear Ernest performing his dawn ritual. Last page. Crackling and crowing about being king of the world. On his 108th day at the dump, salvation arrived for Edward in a most unusual form. The garbage around him shifted, and the rabbit heard the sniffling and panting of a dog. Then came the frenzied sound of digging. the garbage shifted again. And suddenly, miraculously, the beautiful butterfly light of late afternoon shone on Edward's face. Chapter 12 is next, and that was the picture we mentioned that has a dog who's sniffing Edward. Okay, my friends who are on the floor, will you guys please stand up and head back to your seats so we can finish this lesson? Oh, you know what's going to happen in the next chapter? Molly, can you predict what's going to happen in the next chapter?
I know what's gonna happen.
Oh, well, don't tell us if you know.
What?
Don't give it away.
I didn't ask her.
That's like somebody in the movie line who tells you what the end of the movie before you go there. Then you don't want to see the movie anymore because you already know what's going to happen. All right. I'm going to see how good of listeners we were. And if you were listening to what I told you to look for while I was reading, I wanted to talk about what the main point or the main things that happened in that chapter or so far in this book. And you're going to get a couple of options of how you want to best show this to me. The first option is I have some questions that I've already typed out and written out. If you are someone who maybe just wants to answer questions, then I have questions prepared for you. Maybe you're somebody who likes to write out what you know or write out what you think. If you're a friend who likes to write, then I have lined paper for you on this side. And I'd like you to write as much as you can about that chapter, keeping in mind, focusing on the main ideas and topics and things that happen in the story. Maybe you're a friend, which I know there's a couple of you in this one for sure, that like to draw better than things. So maybe you want to draw a picture of one moment from that chapter. Something that would... From that chapter, yep. Or from something that happened in the story. The main idea of the book or the main idea of the chapter, okay? So, I'm going to ask first, is there any friends who want to do the questions? I mean, who best answers questions? We'll talk about that in a minute. Anybody else want to answer questions? Okay, then the rest of my friends, I'm going to give you the other sheet. And you can decide which side of the sheet you'd like to use. Either the blank side to draw a picture, or the line side to write about what's happening so far in the story. I'm going to pass those out now. Are there any questions about what the expectations are during this time? Okay, then I'm going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes to finish this. If you finish before those 10 or 15 minutes is up, will you please just get a book out and silently read at your seat? After that 10 or 15 minutes is up, we will be getting ready to go home, passing out our papers and homework, and getting our stuff from our lockers. Read. I messed up and it hit the floor. Sure, but I want to go on big points, not small points. Like those small points, I'm thinking about the main idea of the topic. Think about what the biggest event that you think would happen so far. And write about it.
I almost got held back.
Raise your hand if you've not got a paper yet from me. So, yes, they do. A lot of people, I noticed that Taylor just said a lot of people have different papers. That's right, because we're all aren't doing the exact same thing. We might all be doing different things. I noticed that Kyle got started right away. I noticed that my green table, everyone is quiet, there's no talking, they're hard at work. Thank you. Make sure that you write your name on your paper. And I'm going to put about 10 minutes on the spot. And I'm hoping that we'll be done in 10 minutes. Again, if you finish early, what are you doing?
Reading.
Reading a book quietly at your seat. I notice Maddox hard at work. I notice Lily hard at work. Molly looks like she's hard at work. Noah looks hard at work. Keep it up. Remember, details, as many details as possible. Friends, this is an individual assignment. Meaning our voices should be on 0. I shouldn't hear any voices. When you are done, you can hold on to your paper again. You may silent read. That doesn't require a voice either, so I should not hear any voices. Green Table's doing a fantastic job. Ooh, I noticed some friends are using that paper that they got that they're reading, and they're looking back and reading it to remember. Excellent strategy. If you have a question, please raise your hand and I'll answer it. Otherwise, your voice should be off. Individual work by yourself. Read a part to a partner. Just keep an eye on the clock. You have about 5 minutes. I mean, that's time to make sure about that you should be done. Be done in 5 minutes.